everybody. Happy Tuesday. Back in the studio today, so a little better quality than what we had yesterday morning if you're a part for that. So it's Morning Manna, your daily dose of dough. Get your coffee and let's get right into it. We're looking at Psalm number 1, and we're going to finish it today. It's really not an in-depth study, and it's pretty easily understood. Yesterday we went through verses 1 and 2. But we're actually going to finish it. We're going to go through 6 verses today. And so we'll pick up in verse 3. It says, talking about the blessed one, right? That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. Not so with the wicked, in verse 4. They are like chaff that the wind blows away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. And he wraps up the psalm in verse 6, for the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to destruction. Now, when you read this, it seemed like, duh, right? I mean, that's pretty generic. We kind of understand what the psalmist is trying to say. Now, remember something, that the Psalms, ideally, we're to read as though they were written to be songs. In fact, in the Greek, the word for Psalms actually means musical song. It really basically means song. That's what it actually means. But when you look at verse 3, it talks about the righteous man being blessed. We talked about it yesterday. And then, so now he gives us a comparison. He doesn't just say that, blessed is the guy who's meditating on the word day and night. He's going to give us a practical example. And he says he's going to be like a tree. But not just any tree, because certain trees wither away and die. And so that's not necessarily a great thing. In fact, the Bible uses the reference and the analogy of trees many times, talking about when it comes to bearing fruit and what we should do with a good tree and a bad tree. Well, he says that a righteous man is like a tree that is planted by rivers of water that brings forth its fruit in season and its leaf doesn't wither. Now, this is significant because if you know anything about agriculture, trees that are planted by a continual source of water really do prosper. They don't wither away, and they bear tremendous fruit because it is constantly getting its nutrients, getting what it is needed. So if we are like that, if the blessed man or the righteous man is constantly in need, and we know that we are, it might be worth looking at what it means to be planted by a river, and are we planting ourselves or our souls by a river, so to speak? And so this is the kind of tree that we would see to be strong and stable, that goes deep into its roots, much like the life of a righteous man. We see that, we even use the terminology, he is strong in his faith. Those kind of things, strong and durable. He stands strong or stands firm in the face of difficulty. Those kind of things, we're starting to see that this tree kind of brings forth that same kind of thing. And he talks about how it brings forth fruit in a season. And he says that the righteous man bears fruit like the fruit of the Spirit, which we can read about in Galatians, and that fruit comes naturally from this tree because it's planted by the water. Jesus spoke about bearing fruit in the Gospel of John chapter 15, talking about when we abide in him, right? And fruit also, we know, is seasonal. So sometimes we kind of get discouraged when we walk in our righteousness and we're not seeing an immediate evidence of fruit. Pastors go through this a lot when we're doing what God has called us to do and we're not seeing the kind of growth that we would like to see in the tree. We're going to actually finish today here because I think there's more to come in a little bit further. So what's your devotion like this? Where are you planted? I mean, that's a question for you to think about. Are you planted by a nice stream of water, somewhere where you're getting fed? And I'm not talking about literal water, but I'm talking about the water of life, the living water. Are you planted in that? What does your devotion time look like? What does your prayer life look like? What does your church attendance and what do your ministries look like? Are you involving yourself in the works of ministry? Maybe you're saying, I'm doing all those things, but I'm not really bearing a lot of fruit. Well, remember that fruit bears its fruit, trees bear fruit in a season. So maybe good things are coming, and that's your devotion. Stay in it. Up your game. You can always do that. Hey guys, remember to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you can be made aware every time we put out a new video. And don't forget to bless somebody today. Do something amazing for somebody you don't expect anything in return, and watch what happens in your life. We'll see you.